Well, hello, it's been a while since we caught up. Very nice to have you back, and welcome to my beautiful apartment in Vienna, Austria. So what am I doing in Austria anyway? Well, I've been sent on exchange from my home university to come study here in Vienna for about 4 months and then, travel for a couple more. What I want to talk about in this video is this sort of unique planning process I had to go through with coming on exchange, especially since I like to do travel and photography and make videos. With all the Instagram rage these days, I mean, who really isn't traveling and making photos and videos? I'm really derivative, aren't I? And for me, what it really boils down to is flexibility. I didn't really know where I wanted to go before I left Canada. And I couldn't really be arsed to plan 5 months worth of weekend trips and day trips since I'm a bit lazy, so I figured I'll just pack some shit and make it work. And I gotta say, there's one thing that's really helped make this entire process easier and more organized, and that is pouches. Look at all these pouches. Pouches are God's gift to travelers. If you're harebrained and disorganized like I am, this is going to make your life so much easier when you're on the road. Compartmentalizing my stuff into different bags and pouches by category has just helped me be so much more spontaneous while I'm traveling and really just enjoy myself a lot more. If I decide last minute that I want to go on a day trip somewhere, I can just grab all the pouches that I need that are already packed and I can be out of here in a speedy fashion. So with that, let's go through some of the pouches, shall we? This is the Peak Design Field Pouch in this beautiful brown color. I would have got the black, but when you're buying things used most of the time, you don't really have a color choice. This is really cool, but it's expensive. Peak Design stuff is not cheap, at about 50 Canadian bucks. Depending on where you buy it, sometimes it can be even more than that. But check out all these pockets. I got all kinds of stuff in here. I use this like my techie sort of adapter pouch. You could almost say this is like my dude purse. I just use it and stuff it in my bag and it works pretty great. Okay, next up, this is the Timbuktu Snoop small camera insert. I'm not really sure if you can buy this anymore, but it's basically like a padded camera compartment that you can stick inside another bag. The only downside is that it's not that great to shoot out of, because if it's in a bag, it's not a camera bag, it's not the best, but for keeping all of your camera gear organized and in one place, it's pretty good. So in here I keep my 5D with a 40mm and 16 to 35 f4IS and my X100S over here, all neatly zipped up and contained. Lots of Canon L lenses come with these pouches. I brought the Canon 135mm f2 in here, but this can be really useful for all kinds of random stuff. Next, I have these cheap pouches that I got on Amazon. I have them on different colors based on what I have inside. This one is purple power, this one's blue backup. Inside the purple one, camera chargers, some extra USB cables. In the blue one, I keep my external hard drive, my SD cards. It's just a random tool bag that I got with a tool set that my parents bought me a few years ago. And in here I keep my audio stuff. One thing I learned from this little guy is that anytime you get a pouch with a product that you buy, you should hang on to it, because you never know what kind of use it's gonna have when you're traveling. It just zips open like this. It's got cool little loops on the inside. Just keeps everything organized and together so I don't lose it. I also got a flash. This isn't really much to talk about because the flash just comes in its own pouch, so that's really good. And finally, I want to talk about these. These are packing cubes. I got these from Mountain Equipment Co-op. What I love about these is that they weigh next to nothing. They can pack down really small when you're not using them, and they help keep your clothes really neat and organized when you're on the road. Also, if you roll your clothes like you should if you want to save space, it helps keep everything rolled instead of just loose in your bag. You could stick your t-shirts in one, or your pants in the other, or clean clothes in this one, dirty clothes in this one, whatever you like. You can put shoes in here, lots of different options. So those are all the important pouches and bags that I use for traveling. It's really great because if you're rolling into town with your backpack or your rolling bag, you can quickly rearrange stuff without too much trouble. On my flight to Toronto on the way here, Air Canada Rouge of course overbooked the flight, so by the time I boarded the plane, there was no space in the overhead bins for my big carry-on backpack. All I had to do was pull out a couple of these packing cubes and stuff them in some extra space up above, and then I was able to compress my backpack enough that I could keep it at my knees for that flight. Wasn't too comfortable though, so thanks Air Canada for making sure I had no leg room on that flight. But I can hear you asking, okay Spencer, tell us about the backpack. All right. here it is, the Peak Design Travel Backpack 40 liter. This is my main travel companion. Now, I've only had this bag for a couple of weeks and I've only taken it on one trip so far for a day. I'll make a full review of this bag once I have a little more time with it. But the TLDR is really just, this bag is really awesome. It's just not quite the most comfortable. The great things are that you have lots of ways to access your stuff. You also open up the back and access your stuff that way. It's got all kinds of cool hidden compartments that I won't get into in this video, but the one thing I will mention is that this backpack has 3 different modes. Now, this is really cool. So right now, it's in 35 liter mode, and if I just unsnap that, now we are in 40 liter mode. And if you take these 2 zippers right here, now the pack expands to 45 liters. Now this is really cool because you can go all the way from a huge carry everything kind of pack and then slim it down to something that's not too bad. It's not quite small enough for a day pack, but if you had to do it, it will work. So I can talk about this bag all day, but why don't we go try it out?